Welcome back, everybody, to today's podcast. I'm Nicola Brunton, your host from Freedom from the Desk. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that is so deceptively simple, but in my mind, a game changer when you actually start to take the time to notice it. And it's the tiny words that we use every day, every single day in our language that shape how we think, we decide, and maybe even how we set goals and dream. Now, that's a pretty big statement, and it's so simple. So, I'm talking about getting excited about and not or. That's the power of expansive thinking. So, again, let's get excited about and not or. So, what I'm talking about here is, at first glance, it kind of seems like basic grammar, right? But when you kind of weave and or into your everyday vernacular, how you speak to yourself, how you speak out loud to other people, it can be the very subtle difference between feeling quite limited and, on the other spectrum, limitless, because the two are so interchangeable. And for two very small words, they have a very powerful impact. And so the and or conversation, I thought, was a great topic for my podcast. So here we are. And I hope you guys take away something from this, because it's really, while it's so small and seemingly insignificant, it's immensely, immensely powerful. So let's have a look at the language of limits. So think back to a time where you may have caught yourself saying something like, I can grow my business, or I have time for myself, or I can focus on my health, or I can stay on top of work. I can rest or be productive, right? All very sound every day, very familiar to me. So when we speak like that, we're actually unconsciously building walls up for ourselves, or thinking forces us to choose. So let's just rehash a couple of those statements again. I can either rest or be productive. I can focus on my health, or I can stay on top of work. I can grow my business, or have time for myself. So when we swap the or for an and, it really does shift. I can grow my business and have time for myself. I can focus on my health and stay on top of my work. And statements are a very qualifying thing, versus or statements are very taking away. It's one or the other. So I hope you guys can recognize the shift here. Suddenly there's kind of breathing space with what's possible when you go for and versus or. And because and invites creative thinking creatively and problem solving, while the or statement kind of keeps us in a little bit of a now moment, or keeps us in survival mode. It takes away those options. So the psychology of and versus or is quite interesting as well. And this is where kind of science meets a mindset. So or thinking stems very much from a scarcity mindset, the belief that resources are limited. I mean, you've heard the phrase all or nothing, right? It's a mental framework that says there isn't enough time, money, or energy for both. But the and thinking is basically rooted in abundance. It assumes there is always a way to hold two truths at once. And neuroscience is great, and it backs this up. When we say, I can't do both, the brain stops looking for solutions. It's quite simple. But if we ask, how can I do both? The brain's reticular activating system, or the RAS, the part that filters information actually starts scanning. It starts looking for answers. It starts looking for solutions. It's like flipping a light switch from closed to curious. So Dr. Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset really fits beautifully into what we're talking about here today. She showed that the way we frame challenges directly affects our ability to grow from them. And Stephen Covey called it an abundance mentality, seeing life as both and opportunity, not a win-lose competition scenario. So let's look at some real life examples for you guys. So in business, I can serve my clients and grow my online income at the same time. And if it's health, I can rest and stay consistent. Relationships, I can love my independence and also crave connection. And for personal growth, I can be proud of how far I've come and want more. So, how do we actually put this into real life? How do we practice and thinking? So, here are 4 really quick ways to integrate this into your daily routine, your daily mindset. So, reprogramming what's going on upstairs. So, catch your oars. They are very subtle, everybody. I can't reiterate this enough. They are very, very subtle. They're very incestuous. They just sort of creep in. So it's going to be quite a conscious thought to catch your oars. Notice when you say either slash or is swap it for an and. And number 2, ask better questions. Instead of can I, ask how can I? So how can I questions actually open up the door for possibilities, actually open up a conversation versus can I is very much like a closed question. So can I? Yes, no, simple as that. So ask better questions. Number 3, journal with ands. So actually write it out. And writing out your goals and your dreams and whatever you're moving through is really powerful. So when you write out your ands, you could write something like, today I choose to be ... and ... So if you're writing out some of the ones that we've just talked about as the examples, you could write out for the business, I can serve my clients and grow my online income. I can continue to work in my business and grow my online income. For your health, I can rest and stay consistent, and actually write them out. So, because you may think, as human beings, we're quite lazy. So these practices of actually how to bring in the and thinking, you may think that you're automatically doing it. But believe me, they will creep in without you even knowing it. So number 3 is actually really important, to journal your ands down. So actually write out these statements. And number 4 is reframe, reframe conflict. Instead of I can't rest or work, try I can rest and still take aligned action. So just change up the way the sentence is actually framed. So you're going to be reframing something that's quite confrontational. So instead of saying I can't rest or work, try I can rest and still take aligned action towards your work. So to finish off today, it's a simple truth. Life isn't about choosing between success or happiness, work or rest, passion or stability. You can actually have both. You can choose to have both by switching it up and using your and. You get to build a business that lights you up and feels grounded. That's me. I get to build a business that lights me up and a life that feels grounded. A year ago, it would have been, I get to build a business, but I don't feel grounded. So when you start replacing your ors or your buts with and, super powerful, and you don't just change your language, you actually change what's possible. So, as I said, this is a really simple, but powerful little conversation today. So, I implore you all to go away and do a real life audit of your ands and ors. Really simple. And do put it into action. Write them out. Write out the statements that you think you might just automatically be processing is okay. And oh, no, I don't use the word or. Actually take some time. Just take 5 minutes out of your day. Listen to yourself conversation wise. And write out those statements where you think you may have it all mapped out. And kudos to you if you don't. If you haven't got any ors in your life, fantastic. Love it. But really try and be mindful of your ands and ors and highlight those ors and turn them into ands in the statement, in the way that you speak to yourself, in the way that you talk to yourself, with those thoughts in your head as well. So I hope this has been helpful. I loved doing this episode and unpacking these little nuggets that I come across each week for you guys. Let me know if you'd like to know more about this mindset stuff. And I look forward to catching you guys in the next episode. Till then, have a fantastic day.